Shalom, shalom, right back at you. Your boy Big Truck here, King's Table, coming at you. Part 2, unfinished business. Peeling off the layers of your past. So, already covered part 1. We're gonna recap everything in part 2 and really dive into some things. I know both videos are probably rattle some cages, because what it is when we're talking about childhood trauma, when we're talking about a person's behavior, when we're talking about why a person moves the way they move, responds the way they respond. You see what I'm saying? Most of us, it's too much. It's too much to go back and deal with it. Oftentimes we carry stuff. What do you mean carry stuff? Sometimes we carry anger, frustration, and forgiveness. We carry stuff, and we develop our own little safe place. When we develop our own little safe place, that's where we're comfortable. We're comfortable there. To us, we're good there. We have our peace. Some don't function well in relationships. Some don't even function well in marriages. I know that firsthand. Yes, a person will look good on the outside, but be broken on the inside. You see? And I get it. Fear. Let's talk about fear for a moment. Fear of anyone seeing me in my brokenness. Fear of being vulnerable. Fear of opening up. Fear of stepping out of my comfort zone and doing something different. Because for so long, I've been in this place. You see? This is my comfort space. For so long I've operated in this space. And now I'm having to come out of that. Fear. What will people think about me? How will they look at me? Rejection. I know I need a love life and a social life. Or if I find myself really liking a person or getting close to that person, I have to do something to cut it off, to mess it up. Self-sabotage. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to somebody today. You see, fear. I have to keep my guards up. I have to be guarded at all times. I'm tired of getting hurt. I'm tired of giving myself to people, giving myself in a relationship, giving myself to family, giving myself to friends, giving myself to myself. Fear. Let's talk about feelings and emotions. That runs rapidly. Let's talk about feelings and emotions. The average person has feelings and emotions. Okay? The average person will have feelings and emotions. They share those feelings and emotions, or they have it. But due to deep rooted stuff, either A, it doesn't allow them to express or have them, or B, they choose not to. You see? We have to identify the two. And then we have to ask ourselves, well, if it doesn't allow you to, then you are then being controlled of the things of your past. When you should be in control of you. You should be in control. And if you don't know, then, again, if you have someone in your life, or let's just say you're dating someone, or you're in a relationship with someone. Let's say that. We haven't got to the marriage part yet. Be willing to be open. And once again, it is a process. Rome wasn't built overnight, but Rome was built. And that person that you do trust, that you do respect, that is in your life, is willing to share with you. Allow that person to. That's the first step. That is the first step. I know that first off hand. That is the first step to receiving. Once again, that P word, pride, leaving your pride and your ego at the door. Can't be stubborn and hard-headed, which most of us are. We talked about fear, talked about feelings and emotions, and what else can we uncover? Trust. Being able to trust this individual with your heart, with your body. Okay? And trust that that person will be there. And trust that that person will stand by your side through this process. And that that person will be patient with you. See, these are things that most don't want to unveil and conversate about. And I'm being led to speak about them, so I'm going to speak on it. And last but not least, discovering happiness while on your journey. You say, what do you mean discovering happiness while on my journey? Because the more you begin to do the work, and not just relying on self-work, because I hear this more than once from more than one person. I just rely on self-work. I just rely on spiritual work. No, you need counseling. Because there are some things that I'm going to share my testimony. And this is how we close it. I'm going to share my testimony. Growing up, yes, I was neglected. Yes, I was abused. We'll leave it at that. You fill in the blanks. I know what abandonment feels like. I know what being homeless feels like. I know what rejection feels like. I know what carrying stuff feels like. I carried stuff. I carried hurt. I carried pain. Emotional, mental damage. I didn't want to let nobody in. Often would stay to myself. I was comfortable with that. I was okay with that. I was okay with removing myself from people. I was comfortable with removing myself from things. That's why material stuff don't bother me. Don't faze me one bit. I know what it's like to suffer. I know what it's like to go without. I know what it's like to be judged. Serious throughout my life, I'm carrying on stuff, carrying things. Unforgiveness. I had my father in my life, but he was there, but him and my mother didn't see eye to eye on some things. I had my mother there, but again, it wasn't stable enough. So the things that my dad should have really teach me, he taught me half of that. The things that my mother should have really taught me, she taught me half of that. So there was an unbalance there. Many setbacks. Frustration. Relationships didn't work out. I would always attract the same type of person because I had issues with my mother. I had unfinished business with my mother. I was carrying stuff of my past. You are who you attract. But it wasn't until 2019. You say, what happened in 2019? Those know. If you go back to my prior videos, Run Tell That, part 1 and part 2, I tell it all. But it wasn't until my time in the wilderness, 2019, 2020, 2021. I went through hell and back and then some. March 22nd, I'll never forget it. I made amends with my mother. Broke the mold. I faced her. Looked her in her eyes. And everything that I was carrying, I was able to release it. Didn't have to cuss her out. It was just a simple conversation. When my mother asked me, I'm sorry, son. I was never taught how to be a mother. Will you forgive me? I said, Mom, I forgive you. That right there, being able to look a person in their face, that has wronged you, that has hurt you, that has broken your spirit and just broken you and your brokenness, and as for forgiveness, you forgive them. That right there says a lot. And now me and my mother talk. We don't bring it up. What's said has been said. What's done is done. And now, because I've healed from those childhood traumas, that's why I can easily identify them. Man, that used to be me. I used to run from myself. No wonder why certain relationships I would get into, they didn't work. Because I was broken. I was dating women that were broken. I even married a woman that was broken. I see it so well now. You see? But because I healed from it, I no longer will put myself in a situation like that ever again. While I deal with someone that is broken. However, that's what I say. But on that journey, on this journey, because we're all on a journey, you do not know who God gonna put in your life on your journey. And that is what I had to open myself to. It wasn't about me. It was about Elohim and his glory and sharing my testimony with others. So when we talk about childhood trauma and the things that we experienced, and how do we get past it? Yes, it's a process. Yes, it's a process. And yes, you're going to go through some things. And yes, you're going to feel some type of way. But I promise you, after it's all said and done, there will be a new, healthy you. And you're going to attract and draw a different type of people. Even when it comes to your love life. You see, there's no need to be promiscuous. Because being promiscuous, that's a dead wall right there. Because you're as a woman, you're intaking all those spirits. Same as a man. Men, you don't need to be promiscuous. Because you can be intimate with the wrong woman and you're gonna pay. You could be intimate, if you are a woman, you could be intimate with the wrong man and you're gonna pay. But if you have someone in your life, don't push that person away. Especially if that person understands and knows what it's like to have deep-rooted childhood issues or trauma and dealt with it. One more thing I want to touch on. Getting hurt deeply in relationships or marriage. That right there can scar a person. When a person is giving their heart and giving their all to another in a relationship and marriage and get done dirty, that can do a damage. That can do a lot to a person. But in all things, what we have to do, recognize the issue, call it out, be patient with ourselves, do the work to heal from it. Don't just rely on self-help, self-love, that's part of it. But seek counseling. Seek counseling or seek counsel with someone that has gone through it, that has dealt with it. How did you overcome it? What did you do? Would you mind sharing with me? Or make yourself available and that person will share with you. You see? When two people, as like a man or a woman that has both been through some trauma experiences, one of the beauty and the blessing of it all is when they're able to heal together, when they're able to walk together, when they're able to stand together, when they're able to lift up each other, encourage each other, pray for each other together, be able to do things together. That's the best way to bond right there. And we have to look at a positive outcome when we do that. Because at the end of the day, we both win. Everybody wins. It's a win-win. But let me know what you think, wrapping it up. Like I said, it was placed on my spirit to do a part 1 and part 2, unfinished business. Tearing back the layers of your past. You know? And it's always good to tap into your family. Know what that bloodline was like. Because oftentimes, you will discover that your family was involved in stuff, but being passed down to you. And sometimes you have to cut generational cords, emotional ties. See, you have to cut them things off. Until then, be strong like this lion right here. Go be the best version of yourself. Enjoy living your everyday life. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and financially. Until then, shalom.